Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing our lesson 6.5, which is divide by a decimal. This shouldn't be super hard. You just have to make sure that you get these first steps correct as you're doing this. So please make sure you're paying attention. If you need to rewind it, go back, rewind it, watch it again, and then just keep doing it. The more you practice, the better you get with these. So let's look at this first problem on page 267. It says, Aaron buys erasers for his pencils. Each eraser costs 20 cents. The total is $1.20. How many erasers does Aaron buy? Solve this problem any way you choose. So I'm just going to show y'all the standard algorithm way of solving this problem, or at least getting it set up like a standard algorithm. And then if you want to do partial quotients to solve it, I am completely fine with that. But you have to get it set up like a standard algorithm in order for you to solve it with partial quotients, if that makes sense, hopefully. So let's set this up. First, we need to figure out what do we need. We know that the total cost was $1.20, so make sure you circle $1.20. We know that each eraser costs 20 cents. That each, remember when we talked about each is either going to be to multiply or divide. Because we know the total, we know we're going to be dividing. Okay, so our question, let's underline our question, how many erasers does Aaron buy? So let's solve this problem. So I'm going to have $1.20. Make sure y'all can see this. Okay, $1.20. I'm going to divide that by 20 cents for each eraser. Okay, now I cannot solve this problem just like it is right now. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move my decimal. So I'm going to move my decimal 2 places. Okay, so now I have 20. And so if I move it on the outside 2 places, I have to do the same thing to the inside. I have to move it 2 places. So I'm going to move it 1, 2. So now I have 20 and 120. Now I have a mental math problem that I can do in my head. How many times will 20 go into 120? It will go 6 times. Okay, 6 times 20 is 120. Subtract it and I'm left with 0. So how many erasers can Aaron buy? He can buy 6 erasers. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Again, when we're dividing, you're going to have your decimal. You're dividing by a decimal on the outside. You have to move it in order for you to do the actual division. So let's do another example on the next page. We're going to do a couple of these on your own. Let's do on page 269. If you want to, you can take a moment and read through the example on page 268. I would do that just that way you have another example. I'm not going to go through that on the video though because it gives you step by step in the paper in the book. Let's do number 3. So let me erase this real quick. Number 3, we have 2 divided by 5/10. Okay, so remember, anytime we're dividing, our divisor, that's our second number. If you want to write that down and label it divisor, our second number is always going to go on the outside of our house, even though with this one, it's 2 digits. So typically before, we would always have 2 digits before a 1-digit number, but that's not the case. You're always going to have your divisor on the outside of your house. So let's put the divisor on the outside of our house. So we have 5/10 and we have 2. It looks a little funny, but it's fine. What we're going to do, remember, we have to move our decimal. We cannot leave a decimal on the outside of our house. I have to move it. So I'm going to move it 1 place to the right. Now, if I move it 1 place to the right on the outside, I have to do the same thing on the inside. Remember, there's an invisible decimal. This is the same as having like 2.0, right? Doesn't change the value. It still has the same value. We're going to move it again 1 place to the right. We're multiplying by 10 on the outside, multiply by 10 on the inside. So now I have 5 on the outside and 20 on the inside. How many times will 5 go into 20? It'll go into it 4 times. So that would be my answer is 4. Okay, we're going to do a couple more That way y'all can have it set up and y'all can see how we're setting it up. I'm gonna leave that there so you can see the divisor. The next one we have is 1 and 25 hundredths divided by 25 hundredths. Again, what number is going to go on the outside of my house? It's going to be my 25 hundredths. So 25 hundredths, and I have 1 and 25 hundredths. Okay, remember, if I have a decimal on the outside, what do I have to do? I have to move it. So I'm going to move it 1, 2 places. If I move the outside 2 places, what do I have to do to the inside? Move it 2 places. We're going to move it 1, 2. So now I have on the outside 25, and on the inside I have 1 and 2500, or 125. Now I can divide it. I actually know mental math for this one. I know that if I multiply 5 times 25, it gives me 125. So my answer would be 5. Not all of these are going to be mental math ones. I think they're giving you a lot of mental math ones, just kind of that way you get into the routine of knowing how to do these. When we get into the later problems, they're going to be, you're actually going to have to divide and figure out. But for right now, we've got this. Okay, let's do one more, and then I'm going to let you do a few on your own. So let's do, let's look at number 7. We have 2 and 56 hundredths divided by 4 hundredths. Again, what number goes on the outside of my house? 4 hundredths, correct. So I'm going to put my 4 hundredths and my 2 and 56 hundredths right there. Okay, so now I'm going to, I have to move this how many places? 2 places. 1, 2. So if I move the outside 2 places, how many times do I move the inside? 2 places. 1, 2. So now I have 4 and 256. Now, I do not know the mental math for that one, so I actually have to solve it this time. I'm going to use standard algorithm. You can use partial quotients. What I want you to do is I want you to pause it, and then I want you to check your work. So go ahead and pause the video and then check over it. So hopefully you pause it and you're just checking at this point. 4 times 6 is 24. Subtract it and I'm left with 1. Bring down my 6. 4 goes into 16. 4 times 4 times 4 is 16. Subtract it and I'm left with 0. So my answer would be 64. Okay. I hope y'all can see these problems okay. I've set up my camera a little bit different today, so I'm hoping it's not like too complicated for y'all to see it. All right, so what I want you to do independently today, so get ready to circle. I want you to do 8, 9, 11, 15, flip, 19, 26, and 27. Okay, not too many. I did give you a couple word problems and y'all can do them. Go ahead, make sure you do your best. If you have a 7 here, you can ask them. Ask me if you need help. Ask a pair if you need help. Hopefully we'll be able to get through this together. Love you guys.